What up? We back. How did I know that Intel was gonna pop like this? We're gonna go into some of the reasons real quick why I liked this play, and it just so happened to work out. But I mean, at the time, I liked this play. I ended up getting this one on Friday while the market's tanking. We're buying calls on Intel, and we're buying calls on Intel because this alert comes through at noon, basically in the middle of the sell, essentially. Overall indices are selling off. And someone's buying these lotto calls 15% out for 2 weeks out, essentially. Okay, right there should be your ticket to going, yeah, something's going on. This is screaming somebody knows something already. Who buys Intel, of all things, with an IV of 35? Something that hardly moves. Let's just see a few of their moves real quick. Okay, so it took 7 days to move 8 points. That's one of the faster moves for Intel, but we've had a broad market sell-off. It took 35 days to move 14 points. How long did it take to move? 112 days to move 23 points. It's not bad. Most of the really fast moves come on the downside. So if you see a put on the downside, for 2 weeks out or so, that's a little bit better. But then you got a 37 days for 22. But on the upside, it takes a lot longer for Intel to grind higher. Here's a really strong move here from low to high, 69 days to move 12 points. So hopefully that drives my point home that Intel, if you're playing options on Intel, typically you have to be in at the right time to catch that IV spike. That IV is what's going to drive the premium higher. Once this implied volatility gets jacked up to say 80, 100, 200%, then you're going to see these premiums get jacked up. And so right now this premium is nothing. It's basically free. I mean, yeah, it's $4. You can't buy an infinite number of them, but it's essentially free at this point because there's hardly any IV being priced into it. So I'm looking at the alert and I'm going, okay, if they even pop the IV, to say 70 or something, it's not completely unreasonable for most stocks, especially in the volatile world that we're in right now. This IV is super low relative to the volatility in the overall market. Okay, so this is just some of the thinking that went into this. Buying for 2 weeks out on Intel, we just saw the type of how long it takes for Intel to move. So someone's expecting 15% or 7 points because they bought it when it was 49. They're expecting 7.5 points at least. They're buying the 5650s, not so that it goes to 5650. They're buying the 5650s because they think it has a chance to go farther than 5650. Okay, so they're expecting a bigger move than what it shows, but that's only 2 weeks. So there's got to be some kind of news out there. Sorry, I just hit my phone there. There's got to be some kind of news out there that's going to move this stock. And this is a similar play to an XPEV play that we just hit the other day. And this was similar to, and this one was a little bit different in that it was a lot less time. Now we know XPEV. If you ever trade EV stocks, especially China EV stocks, they can move. So if you see an alert for something like XPEV come through, then you definitely want to at least pay attention to this. Here it is. So this one came through on 12/2. Okay, so I know the market's volatile. We got XPEV here, and you got a stock that can really get crazy. And if you've been following the market, I've been following XPEV since it first came out. Essentially, so I know how it can move. So if I see an alert coming in for XPEV coming in, especially something like this. So look, it came in 11:02, 12/2. And look at the expiry, 12/3. That should be red flag right there. Who is buying? Look where the underlying is, 49. Who is buying 14 points down on XPEV? A 30% crash, essentially. They think that XPEV is going into bear market overnight. Okay, it's not a huge amount of premium. It's a similar amount. It's almost like sneaky premium, like that other Intel. They're hitting you in with that little 17,000, 18,000, but they're hitting you on these little premiums here. Now the IV was massive. okay, because it's XPEV. So here's a little bit of difference. So don't put too much weight on the IV, but it should be a consideration. But again, what didn't concern me here so much on the IV was just because of the time, the urgency here. They knew something. And so what happened the next day was China, they were talking about China delisting companies and stuff like that. So what happened was XPEV goes from 49, it actually gaps down, and I think it hits a low day of like 42 or something like that. Okay, so these actually went to about 32, 33. It says here they went to 17, but I think they went a little bit higher than that. But still, 183%, because you're looking at this and you're going, yes, somebody knows something, and it happened to be the news. All right, so same thing with that Intel play. Somebody always knows. You always have to assume if you see plays that are just super rare, because this bot is throwing out unusual plays. But then there's even like another level of unusual, especially when it comes to a stock like Intel. And so we see the news of the Mobileye coming out, and then this thing gaps up. I think it gapped up, closed after hours of 55. I have no idea what it opens at tomorrow. Doesn't matter. All that matters is that the alert, the flow, alerted us to get in on Friday at around noonish. And basically, you got so much time, you just sit there and forget about it. Like I put it in a small account and just forgot about it. So ended up just like learning about it this afternoon. Like, oh, hey, look, it gapped up $4. So I didn't put too much money into it, but it's one of those plays you go, let me throw $100 at it or something like that. So if these open up at, say you buy 20 of them, okay, and they open up at $90, well, that's a there's your small account, okay. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you guys a little bit to understanding, kind of finding some of these plays, kind of the thought process through them. And if it does, let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, and be sure to check out Unusual Whales. The link is in the description. Peace.